and good afternoon, and welcome to Vessel of Hope. Welcome to your Tuesday goodness, your Tuesday break. Just a break from the day, a break from Monday, just a break, right? I know all of you mothers who celebrated Mother's Day on Sunday. Y'all like, oh, I am so tired now. I done ate so much. I didn't have to cook. The kids took care of me. So here, I'm giving you a break today. So welcome to Best of Hope. Thank you all so much that are here, that are joining, that are a part. We love and appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you know what I need you to do? Perhaps Loretta, you're already on the ball. You already started for me. I need you to go ahead, and if you're on Facebook, I need you to give me a love. Give a love button there. I need you to share it on your wall. And for those of you that are on YouTube, you know what I need you to do? I need you to go ahead and like it, right, Sister Glover? Go ahead and like it. Go ahead. Now, if you're watching on your phone, click out of the chat and go to the beginning again. And then you're going to see the up button. Give it a thumbs up right there. Go boom right there. And you can go back into the chat and continue conversation, right, Sister Bridget? So I need everyone to participate with me today. And let's go ahead and love, like, again, YouTube, click your notification bar so you can see what's happening, right, Prophet Patricia? So we can all be a part of this family. Sister Diaz, how's your head going? Man, I know you're doing better. So thank you all so much once more for joining us today on Vessel of Hope. So today, I want to talk to you real briefly, real quickly. We're going to be talking about the until. UNTIL. The THE until UNTIL. I know I spell it. I got that little tool from Apostle because sometimes when she says some words, people are like, what? So she spells it for you just in case my accent comes out and you can't really understand what I'm saying, right? So it's the until. We're going to talk about the until today, right? Have you ever told someone that, hey, if you lend me $100, I'll pay you, I'll lend me $100 until I get paid, right? Or you say, I'm not ever going to speak to that person again until they apologize to me. Or you say things like, until they change their behavior, I don't want nothing to do with them. These are a lot of untils. We as human beings, we love the words, the until, right? Thank you so much to Diaz for that thumbs up. We love the word the until this happened, then that will happen, right? We have so many untils, right? Remember this here. Until is a conjunction. We talked about if it's a conjunction before, right? So this is a conjunction. Until is a conjunction. It's a conjunctive word, right? And it means up until a point, up to a point. So until up to a point something happens, this is when XYZ will happen, right? So until is up to a point. So sometimes as things happens in our life or things happen around us, in order for us that make us use the word until. So today I want to give you two simple principles of the until, right? Two principles of the until. So I'm gonna get two principles of the until. So we talking here today, right? We like to have a conversation here in Vessel of Hope, right? Me and you, we like to just, we hanging out. We hanging out for the next 30, 45 minutes. We just hanging out, right? I wish I had some coffee in here, but it's water, y'all. I'm drinking water, right? Take a sip of that. So you grab your coffee, grab your water, grab whatever little liquid you like to drink because we're under fasting right now. So we just drinking liquid, not alcohol. So grab what you need to drink. So we talk about the until, right? So the first principle I want to give to you for the until is know your limits. Know your limits. Try and get a little comfortable here. No, you know what? Move this cushion like I did last week, right? There we go. Feel like the little kids, right? They always want to come and move. This side note here. Here we go. Distraction, right? Side note here. When you come in our house, there's certain places that you sit. You're not allowed to move cushion. Don't let Apostle see you move that cushion, right? If you go in the sitting room, which no one really goes in there, but the cushions on the chair, don't move them cushions. Leave it right there. Sit there with the cushion. So we're talking about until, right? So the first thing is know your limits, right? When you stretch an elastic band, you know, as little kids, you used to have that elastic band in your hand and you go like this and prop. I don't know why we used to do that. And prop, and you just pull it, and you pull it. When you stretch it, after a while, it's going to burst, right? So even the plastic band. What is it? Plastic band? We call it rubber band in Guyana. So I don't know. I'm thinking, well, we'll say rubber band. Even a rubber band have its limits, right? It has its limit that when you pull it to a certain extent, it's going to break, right? Prophet Cerise is gonna just collapse. It's gonna say, no, I can't do it anymore. Same as human beings. We have limit, and you need to know your limits while you're in this until period. You need to know your limits. How far can you be pushed? How much can you be pushed? You need to know that. How far can you be pushed? How much can you be pushed? And this is why I use, Prophet Sharice, I'm gonna go again. Stop, think, process. Because it's like, hey, if somebody keep nagging at you, you know how far they're gonna go until you snap. So you gotta walk away. Be like, ooh, let me just walk away because this person is. They trying to, but I'm not let them because they trying to, right? So we got to know our limits in the until, while we're walking in the until. The until gives you time to reflect. This is what it does. It gives you time to reflect. So you know your limit. So it gives you time to reflect. And in that time of reflection, you realize how far, like we did that, how far, how long, and how much you can go. The until gives you time to reflect so you can know how far, how much, and how long you can go. Because it takes a certain amount of pushing, of prying to really make you snap and really make you break. So when you're in that until, right? When you're in that until period, it helps you to know how far you can go, because you realize this. I can't go no more. It's like Apostle. She does her 30 minute exercise, right? And she goes down and she's on the treadmill on the bicycle, and she's doing her bicycle, and she's always she's like 30 minutes. But she knows she can go more than 30 minutes. So she'll say 30 minutes. So she gets down there. An hour later, I'm like, you still there? She's like, girl, I just finished. It was so good. So she knows her limit. She know her limit is about she probably go for 2 hours. Because remember, Apostle used to run track and field. So she got that skill to her. So she knows her limitation. So she know, okay, you know what? I can be on this bicycle for about an hour or so. But if, let's peradventure, Apostle say she's going to be on there for 3 hours, I'm going to say something wrong with you. You're pushing your limits. So you go until you reach to the boundary, to the limit that you can be at. So in the until, you are able to recognize how far, how long, and how much you can go. We have to know where our limits stop. You have to know where your limits stop and where God continuation begins. You have to know and say, you know what? I got to leave this in the hands of I can't do it no more. I'm going to leave this in the hands of the Lord until he does it. It's so interesting, right? You don't really realize how much you use the word until now. I'm saying all these untils, right? Because you'll say that, okay, I'm going to do but this much, but I can't do anything. I'm just leave it in the hands of the Lord until God get ready to do it, or until God get ready to show up, or until God does this, right? We use the word until so often and we don't really realize it. So you need to know your limitation in the until to know how far you can go, your limit, and say, you know what? I leave the rest for God to continue. It's like running a race, right? It's like you're running a race. You're running, the Bible talks about run the race with patience. You're running a race. And if you're running, let's say we're running from here all the way to, let's say I'm going to run from here to Maryland. I can't run straight from here to Maryland. I know my limit. So what will you have to do? Maryland from here, let's say it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive. So let's say we're running. After a while, you're going to have to stop, drink some water, pace yourself, stretch your legs, and so forth. So you know your limitation in the until to stop and say, you know what? I need to stretch. I need to stretch a little bit. I need to just maneuver myself a little bit. I need to flex myself a little bit because I can't go on anymore until, right? I take that moment to rest, to relax, and to flex. Okay, so in the until, you know how far you can go, right? You reach your limit so God can continue to rest for you. Look, Jesus said it this way in the Amplified Bible of Matthew 19 and verse 26. Matthew 19:26, part B. It says it this way: with people, as far as it depend on them, it is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. What is the Lord really trying to say to us? with man, there's limitations. But with God, there's no limitations. Right? I say to the kids all the time, I always say to them, the sky is not the limit to you. Because, we hear the sky's the limit. No, the sky is not the limit. There's more beyond the sky. Right? So here with God, there's no limitation, but with men, there's limitation. Why did I say that? Because everyone have a place where they have to stop. And the until teaches you where you have to stop. The until teaches you where you reach your limit, right? Because sometimes and some things are impossible for man to do. Why? Man cannot hold the sun in its hand. Can you do that? That's a limitation. Only God can do that. He holds the sun in his hand, he takes it and he pitches it out when it's daytime. He takes the moon and he pulls the moon back so the sun can shine. When he's ready, he pulls the sun back and he pitches the moon forward so night can come forth. Only God can do that. There's limitations with man. Watch. Man cannot create this world again. That's our limit. Why? Because only God can do that. He already created. So only God can say, you know what? Let me just destroy this whole world again and start afresh. Because I'm tired of every one of y'all. I'm tired of y'all. I like to tell Apostle if I'm a little frustrated or something. I'm like, I'm tired of this church. Remember that little boy that when he picks up the mic and all he can say is, I'm tired of this church. He dropped the mic and walk away. So that's a little thing I like to say to Apostle. Like, I'm tired of this church. Not necessarily the church, but I'm just tired of this church. You just say that. So men have their limitation, right? Men cannot go back into their mother's womb and be born again. There's limitations, right? Men have limitations. So you have to know your limitation. Imagine a man trying to go up there and he's trying to hold the sun in his hand. First of all, he won't even reach close to it because you'll burn up. Limitation. Imagine a man trying to say, I'm going to destroy this world and I'm going to form it again. He can't because there's limitation. He will have to blow this whole world up. And God will not allow him to blow this whole world up because that gives them too much power, right? Imagine a man like Nicodemus want to be born again and go back into his mother's womb. Not possible. There's limitations. So in these natural things and in these spiritual things, you have to understand the level and the realms that you can go as a human being. There's limitations. You're limited. But remember, in your limitation, right, there is unlimitedness for God. Say that again as I create that word. In your limitations, right, Prophet Loretta, there is unlimitlessness for God. He's unlimitless. So in the until, we need to understand that we have limitations, and our limitations makes us human and make us more dependent on God to continue for us. We when we hear of these stories of those people that are laying on their bed and they're having their last moments and they, oh Lord, I just scared. That's their limit. Their strength is gone. They've reached the limitation of their strength. Right? And the Bible tells us his strength become perfect in our weakness. So we understand our limitation. Until we understand the limitation in man, we will be able to commit to the dependency of God. Say that again. Until we understand the limitations in men, working in the until, we will find our way to embrace the dependency on God. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I could do this. I don't need no help. Listen, I'll tell you right. You know what happened yesterday? Yesterday, I was gonna clean a car and the boys were here. CJ and Josiah was here, and I was like, you know what? Y'all gonna help me clean this car. Because I know my limitations. Because I know if I clean that whole car by myself, I'll be broke. I'll be like, oh my God, I am so tired. My bones would hurt because now that 42 hit me. I was talking to my sister-in-law the other day and she said, people don't understand. Her and Apostle had a nice conversation. The Apostle was talking about her perimenopause, and I was like, here we go. Apostle talking about her perimenopause, and it seemed like my sister-in-law, like she's getting ready to go through perimenopause. I'm older than her, but she's talking about how you get older and your bones are just like, nah, I can't do that no more. And I'm like, yes, that's limitations with men. You need to know your limitation. when we buy juice and we buy our waters, we like to buy the big bulks because we drink a lot of water in this house. And Apostle love her vitamin water. So we get the big cases of those things and the big cases of juice. And what happens if I was to go get those today and I know my brother's coming tomorrow? All of those stuff is sitting in the trunk until my brother comes tomorrow. Why? Because I know my limitation. I know that when I carry those water inside, when I carry those cases of juice inside, when I carry those cases of vitamin water inside, when I carry those cases of ginger ale inside, when I reach inside, by the end of that, I'll be like, oh my Lord, Father, in the name of Jesus, help me. The aches and pain will start. So I know if a mail is going to come to the house sometime that week, it's sitting still in that trunk until they reach, because I know my limitations. So that's what we have to do as human beings. In the until, we have to know our limitations. I can do but so much, but I got to hold up for the until. Right? So know your limitations in the until. In the until, you know your limitations. So that's first principle. Second principle, we're winding down. Second principle is, after you have known your limitation, is it should make you wiser. In the until, you know your limitation, and then it should make you wiser. And I mean, it's sometimes when you say certain things, you're like, oh, that just sounds so simple, but it's not really. No, no, it's not. It's not. It's a little harder. You should know. It should make you wiser. You never really learn a lesson until something happens. You never really learn a lesson until something happens. When I was preparing this, I was remembering this story, right? And it's so funny. I jumped on Facebook for 2 seconds and I saw this person put up a picture of the person that I'm about to talk about right now. When we were in Ghana, I was probably like 6 years old. And we had this lady that lived next to us. Her name was Missy Lane, right? Wasn't really a nice lady. If any one of her kids are watching, our grandkids, any related to her, they know she wasn't a really nice person when we were growing up. She had these dogs, right? And I feel like these dogs were like pit bull, right? And she didn't have fences around her house. And her house was here, and our house was there. There was a house, then her house, and our house. So we had to walk through the yard to get to our house. So if you don't bust, as we call it, guy, bust through the shortcut. This is why I do so much. This is why I do so much shortcut when I drive it today, because I'm all about shortcuts in Ghana. We busting through shortcut. So there's a pathway we can walk from the front, from our house to come to the next road, whatever that road was called. I remember that road. So it's either you bust through the shortcut, or you have to walk all the way that way, all the way that way, all the way that way. So we bust through the shortcut. But Miss Elaine had these dogs. It's like 3 or 4 dogs, right? And I promise you, I really think they were pit bulls. And we all know, when you gotta walk through that yard that the dogs are never chained up, she have no fence, is guaranteed is gonna get you one of these days, right? So these dogs, they always run after you, they bark after you. So one day, I think Mother P sent me to the shop. Right? And I'm like, I am not going to walk around this long way, because I will have to walk around this long way to run this way to go back this way. So when all I could just do is just bust straight through the pathway and go to the front to go to the shop. So I go through the front, I go into the shop, or I'm going where I'm going. And here comes these pit bulls. These 3 dogs. Listen, I promise, I think everyone in our house have an experience with these dogs. I'm supposed to tell you, she ran from me, jumped in the trench, her new brand slippers from America. She couldn't find it. They took her slippers. So I'm walking through this yard and I see them, and they're watching you. They're watching you because they know you're coming. They know you're coming, Deaconess Felita, and they smell you. So they know that you're coming. So they start coming out of, remember, they have no fence. She have no fence. Disrespectful. She got no fence with her 3 pit bulls. So they're coming out for you and they're watching you and they see you coming and think, so you know, once I'm coming and they see me. So I run up on top on our next neighbor that's across us, over between the fences. I run up on his steps and I'm standing there. I'm like, these dogs are gonna get me today. They're not gonna get me today. They're not gonna get me, not today. Not today. No, they're not gonna get me today. And you know what? And I stayed there for minutes, maybe like 15 minutes. And they left and I was like, oh, they're gone. So I come down the step. Oh no, they weren't gone. They were not gone. These dogs came back with a force. They start running after me. And let me tell you, I was bucking. You hear me? I was going. And guess what happened? There was a hole. I fell in the hole and I fell on my face. And what happened? The dog came, bit my butt, and he walked away. Bit me and walked away. And guess what? I was saying, this is unbelievable. That this dog hunt me down just to bite me and walk away. But here, again, I tell you, almost everyone in that section had an experience with these dogs. So one day, I think my my cousin, they're walking through Westchester Bassett, and these dogs coming again. So you know what they did? They're coming to bite. So they took a brick, right? And they hit the dog. And the dog he was done for the day. I forgot who did it, but he was done for the day. Because you know what happened? Everyone in our section reached their limitation. And we understood wisdom now, know ourselves, know our wisdom, that if we keep walking through this path, these dogs have there's no fence here. These dogs are going to keep coming to bite us, because almost everyone in that section have been bitten by that dog before. You complain to Miss Elaine, she don't care. She feel like, well, you shouldn't touch the dog. Nobody trouble the dog. Nobody trouble the dog. So wisdom took seat on someone and said, you know what, this is it. I'm not doing this no more. So they took a brick, hit the dog, and the dog was unconscious for a couple of minutes. And then they were able to walk through. And what happened now? What happened after that? Pastor laughed because remember, sorry to all the dog lovers. I don't even care about that right now, because them dogs was dangerous. So you know what happened after that? The dogs learned their lesson now. Oh, yo, we can't mess with that person because they got bricks. They're gonna be throwing bricks at us, Sister Diaz. They're gonna be throwing bricks at us. So wisdom took its seat. For everyone to understand, when you walk through there now, these dogs are here. So we have to have wisdom in the until. The until should teach us wisdom. You never really learn, again, a lesson until something happens, right? Until that person betray you, you would have kept on trusting them. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Until that person told your story, you would have kept on confided in them. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Until that child cursed you out, you would have kept on believing that they were an angel and everyone that was telling you about them was lying. That hurt my soul, didn't it, right? Until you found that condom in your spouse's bag, you would not believe your friend when they told you that they saw them with someone else. The until brings wisdom. It should, right? It should. Right, Prophet Sharice? It should bring wisdom. Right, Delam? The until should bring wisdom to you because it teaches you a life lesson. It teaches you something so that you say, you know what? Nope. Nah. I saw that, right, Sister Bassett? I saw that before, right? Because I remember the last time that happened, and until that happened, I didn't know. Oh, so the until gives you life lesson. The until brings wisdom, and in that wisdom that the until brings, it takes you to reality of what you were trying to not face. It brings you to the reality of what you didn't want to exist, right? Because again, as I said before, you say to someone, give me $100 until I get paid. So now it brings you to that reality that you do not have $100. Right? It brings you to that reality of why everyone keep knowing my business? Because you kept telling this one person all your business. Oh, you even telling me your social security number. And until you sat down and said, wait, I've been only telling Mary all of this stuff and then everyone is finding out, until you heard it from Susie, you knew Mary was telling you this. And this is why I always say, if I tell somebody, I say, you're the only person I'm telling. So if I hear it back, I know you told. Right? So until brings you into the reality of what's really happening. And in that reality, you should gain some kind of wisdom. Don't tell everybody your business. Not everybody's your cheerleader. Not everybody's on your side. Not everybody wants to see you succeed. So the until should allow us to be wiser. right? Getting wisdom in the until causes you to adjust to the situation and react to the situation wisely. It causes you to adjust, right? It causes you to adjust to the situation and react to the situation wisely. This is what it should do, because it should bring wisdom to you. As you're sitting there, as you're thinking, again, we go back to Prophet Sharice. I'm going to say this again. My stop, think, process. We go back, we stop, we think, we process it. Let wisdom take its seat in the decisions that I'm going to make right now. Because as I'm sitting here waiting, right, for the until, waiting for something to happen, waiting for God to move upon the water, me to step in and get a healing, right? Until God does it, I should have wisdom in what I'm doing. I should have wisdom, Sister Diaz, in my reaction. I should have wisdom in my thought process. Like Apostle tell us through this 3 days of fasting. She's saying, stay off the phone. If you know this person always want to gossip, don't call them. Don't talk to them. They call you, don't pick up the phone. Why? Because it's going to lead you into a place of what? Of gossiping, of trespasses, of what? Of all these things that we shouldn't be doing, shouldn't be saying. So what happens? So you stay off the phone until the fast is over. You like how I thought that until there? So you have to learn the until that it brings wisdom. Here's what Ecclesiastes 7:12 says. It's in Amplified Bible. I was reading. I read this like 5 times. I was like, okay, you got a little serious here. The Amplified Bible, Ecclesiastes 7:12. It says, "For wisdom is a protection, even as money is a protection." Let me stop for a second there. Someone put up a post the other day, and someone was like, "Oh, money can something." And I said, this is someone that's just, you like, I like to use the word, that's someone that's foolish, right? That's foolish, because the Bible tells us what. Money answereth all things. If money wasn't an answer to all things, the Bible would say money answereth some things, right? Or a little bit of thing, or 2% of the thing. But money answereth all things. So when I read this, I said, wow, that's very interesting how Solomon moved money and wisdom together. So anyway, let's start again, read it again. Ecclesiastes 7:12. Amplified Bible. "For wisdom is a protection, even as money is a protection. But the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom shield and preserve the lives of its possessors." Look how important sitting in the until and gaining wisdom do for you. Look how important it is, because what does it do? It shields and preserve the lives of his possessors. So wisdom shields you, right? While you're sitting there waiting, pondering. How do you calm down? You know what I'm saying? It helps you. It what? It is a protection. Wisdom is a protection, because this is why I like to say you live and you learn, right? Because wisdom sits you there in the until, and it protects you, so that you can learn that, listen, you know what, Fitz? Fitz, I don't know where that name came from. You know what, Fitz? You apologized to me 5 times already for the same thing. You haven't learned. I should learn. I should learn that I shouldn't trust you no more. I should learn that you got a problem, Fitz. I should learn that you keep repeating the same story to me 10 times, and every time it's a different narrative. So I should learn that you're a liar. Wisdom, come on, somebody. You know what I'm saying, right, Apostle? You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying. Wisdom protects us. It protects us from not walking down that same road again, and then we're gonna have to say until. So what do we learn in the until? We should gain wisdom. We should be wiser in the until. Why, Sister Diaz? The until is like the waiting, right? It's like the lingering. It's like the still. It's like the still. I was telling the kids the other day, and y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm sure many of you will say my childhood was one of the greatest childhood, the 80s. I mean, Pastor's going to say the 70s. Those of you from the 60s are going to 60s. Mother P, she's in the 40s. She's like the 40s. But I feel like this generation is not experiencing that greatness that we had in our growing days, because we learned so much, we gained so much wisdom. And if I feel like, again, I'm using my words carefully, this is a feeling, I feel like this generation are not able to gain wisdom from a lot of things. Why? Because it's like they're so dumb. I'm sorry to say it, it's like they're so dumb, because they're not experiencing life to learn lessons. What are they experiencing? Their phone. Everything is social media. The false reality that they're living in. Their games. Everything is a game. It's a game. It's a game. But when we were growing up, Pastor and I were talking about this the other day. We went outside. We played hopscotch. We did some double dutch, as we call it in Guyana. We jumped some rope. Y'all, we climbed some trees. We fell down and hit our head many times. You know, we were praying for Mother P to have company so she could say, go outside and play. What? I mean, that was a life. Now these kids that don't want to go outside, and what happened outside? You learn. You had experience. You had the untils when you were outside. But now all these kids is, we almost finished. I gotta go play my game. I gotta go on my PS5. I was stuck at this level. I gotta go. Are you finished? I gotta go on social media. I gotta do a TikTok. Right? So our lives, our generation, our upbringing gave us a lot of wisdom, because you ever sat down and talked to someone, not to say that, you know, that a lot of these kids are dumb, but a lot of them are, you know, because there's some smart, I just read the other day, this 16-year-old girl just graduated with her PhD, you know, but you know what I equate that to? I said her parents kept the wisdom and kept the values. So let's move along. So in the until, it gives us wisdom, because many of us can go back to things, experience that happened in our lives and say, wow, in that until moment, I learned, right? I learned this time. It's like back in the days, you tell the kid, like I would tell it, like these kids, oh, I'm so cold. I'm so cold. Put a shirt on. The boys in this house. I'm so cold, but I want to walk around with no shirt on. Put a shirt on if you're cold. Every day it's the same thing. I'm so cold. Put a shirt on. I'm so cold. Put a shirt on. Back in our days, I'm so cold. Put a shirt on. You tell them one time, they learn. Listen, I was cold yesterday. I put a shirt on. I'm gonna put a shirt on. I'm gonna put a shirt on today. But not this generation. It's like they're not learning. They're not granting wisdom. You know, they're not experiencing things in there until to say, I can use this as a life lesson, as a tool. And this is why I do this all the time. The kids know I'm always telling a story. Why? Because I want them to learn from what I went through. Learn from where I was at. And I think my niece loved this. Marissa, she loves it because she always want me to tell her. She's like, Auntie Marcelle, tell me what happened with this. And I'm ready. I'm ready to tell a story, because why? Because I want to gain the wisdom that I've learned while I was growing up, because I know they just not, some, most of them they're not smart. Some of them could be book smart, but they got no street sense, you know. So I gotta give them some of that, right, Prophet Loretta? So in the until, it grants us wisdom. The until bring wisdom, but it is up to you to embrace that wisdom that is given to you. Again, life is a lesson. And until you stop and say, wow, what have I learned from this? What have I gained from this? And this is what I tell you. This is what I tell you I do at night before I go to bed. I lay down and I say, okay, what have I done? What did I do today? What could I have done? What could I do different about it tomorrow? What have I learned from this day? Because every day there's something I should learn from. You know what I learned yesterday? That when we go outside, when Josiah was washing the car, he washes better than CJ does. Because CJ a little lazy. But when CJ scrubs, he scrubs better than Josiah scrubs better. But Josiah washes better. So next time, I told him, next time they come in, we wash the car, we're going to move who do what in washing the car. Yes, I had kids wash the car. They're going to eat. They're going to eat for free. They're going to work. They're going to wash them cars, right? So I learned that from yesterday. So next time, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I also learned that, like kids, You can push them out so far because I'm watering my plant and I'm washing the house down a little bit, trying to, get these bird poop that just love under my window. So I'm trying to think it up a little bit, and then I'm playing with with Josiah, and I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking the whole time, woo, woo, woo. So he's like, oh, you wet me up. He's like, I'm gonna go change my shirt. I was like, don't change your shirt because I'm gonna accidentally wet you again. So he comes back with a new shirt, and I'm like, woo, 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 and I wet him, and he starts to cry. I'm like, why you crying? He's like, oh, because I just changed my shirt. I said, because I told you don't change your shirt because we out here playing. Obviously, you're going to get wet again, right? Again, you see what I'm talking about this generation? Wisdom. Wisdom. Until I wet him the second time, he realized he shouldn't have changed his shirt. And he started crying. And he didn't want to be my friend anymore. And he ran in and he was like, I'm going to go change my... I said, when you're going to change your shirt, don't come back outside. Because you're not an outside baby. You don't understand the wisdom in being wet by a hose. Back in our days, y'all, I'm going off on story time. Back in our days, on East 21st Street, on building 280, East 21st Street, summertime, we used to get the private, Sister Diaz, you're a cop, so don't come and arrest me for what I did back in the days. We used to get the men to come with those big pliers and open up the water, the hydrant, and we playing in the streets. We getting wet. We washing the cars when they pass by. We're enjoying ourselves. This was great times. And we didn't get upset if someone wet us because it's fun. But as I told you, well, what happened with Josiah? He got upset that I wet him with the hose. He's not embracing the wisdom, right? So anyway, so you have to embrace the wisdom that's given to you in this until it's all about the life experience. And this is why too, and sometimes I feel like a lot. I used to know some people like this, from the church. A lot of the those in their 50s and 60s, they don't want to tell their stories. They don't want to tell their stories, so they don't want to pass down that wisdom to the next generation because they want you to think that they were born in wrapped in swaddling cloth, right? That they came out of a virgin, right? They want you to think that. But you have to, adults, you have to share your experience with this generation. You have to share your stories with this generation so that when they reach to that until, wisdom would hit them and they will say, I remember when Mama was telling me the story about this. Or when Grandma was telling me the story about this. Mother P, y'all, you got to tell her. She tells a story all the time. I don't know the family history because every time she'll find an opportunity to tell a story. But I love it because I'm embracing the wisdom. Right? So that when I get to that until, right, Prophet Loretta? Well, they're like our door. So that when I get older, I'll be like, okay, I learned from my mama's story. And side note, and I was telling, Mother P and I were talking about this again too with this generation as well. And I said, who is to blame for a lot of some people, people gonna start studying me, Apostle. Let me see what time it is. Oh, they're gonna start studying me, Apostle. Who's to blame for a lot of the downfalls of this generation? Take a sip here before. But until then, right, Prophet Sharice, who's to blame for a lot of downfalls of this generation? The parents, the grandparents. Why? Because they don't want to share that wisdom. They don't want to train up their child the same way they were trained. They don't want to raise their kids the same way they were raised. Because apparently, I don't know, are y'all in prison? Are y'all dead? Are y'all alcoholics and stuff like that? Right? Because apparently they feel the way they were raised may not have been the best way. But look at you now. Somebody sang that song? Take a look at me now. Who sang that song? Anyway, let's move along. So as parents and as grandparents and great-grandparents, you have to use those same tools and principles that you gather, that you learned, and you have to use it for your kids and your grandkids. But no, too many parents and grandparents are saying, oh, I don't need to teach them that. I don't want to teach them that way. I don't want to teach them that way. So what happened? Now the kids are teaching themselves. Now the system is teaching them. Now the transgender teacher is teaching them. Now the gay teacher is teaching. Now the atheist teacher is teaching them. And then you get upset when it's too late because you haven't raised them the way they should have been raised. Ooh, people get mad now, Apostle. Get mad now. Don't tell me how to raise my kids. No, I'm not telling you how to raise your kids. I'm not. But I'm sure for those of you who were brought up in a house of principle, in a house of morals, you can say, my mama taught me this. My mama taught me how to do this, how to say this, how to act this way. And because I let my kids go and felt like they didn't need to do it this way, look at the path they're on to be. Because so many times, I don't know why I'm running on this little tangent, but let me sit in this tangent. I'm on Vessel of Hope. I can say what I want to say, right? But so many times today we hear, oh, this generation is different. Why is this generation different? Because you're making them different. You're allowing them to be different. You should teach them the principles. You should teach them the precepts. You should teach them what the Bible is saying, right? I was thinking about this the other day. Society say, oh, you cannot put your hand on the child because of it. But what does the Bible say? Spirit around and spoil a child, right? Right? Oh, society say this is how the kid should go. If they want to have long hair, let them have long. What the Bible say? It is a shame. Nature will tell you that it's a shame for man to have long hair. Society say, oh, if he wants to wear a dress to school, that's fine. It's okay to do that. But what does the Bible say? Train up a child in the way they should go, so that when they're older, they will not depart. Come on now, parents, grandparents, in the until. Let's do it right. Let's get it right. So that this generation, when they're sitting in that until, they said, I had wisdom from my grandmother. I had wisdom from my mom, from my aunt, from my uncle. I had wisdom while I'm sitting in the until to know that even if I'm frustrated, I don't have to go out there and drink. Even if I don't have money, I don't have to go out there and rob somebody. Come on, let's do better. I'm a little passionate about this because I'm tired of this generation feel like they can get away with things because parents are like, it's just this generation. No! Why do we use that as an excuse for a child being rude and disrespectful? No, they shouldn't be rude and disrespectful. One thing about the kids in this house, they know. Because Mother P, when we were younger, oh Lord, and Mother P call you, we had to say, we called her name as we knew her growing up. So we had to say, yes, Tata. We cannot just say yes. What? Y'all, my teeth would have been outside my mouth. So one thing about the kids, when they come in this house, they know if we call them, they have to say, yes, ma'am. And I heard someone said the other day, someone was like, oh, that's just old times teaching to make you feel old. Well, let me feel old because it shows me respect. So let's move along because I feel like a feeling, So this generation, mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, fathers, teach them the principles, right? Because what does Solomon said? For wisdom is a protection. Wisdom is a protection. In the until, wisdom protects you. So that your kids know that if they're going to school and their friend is saying that they are a man, but they're really a girl, wisdom protects them to say, that's wrong. If you're born a girl, you're a girl. You can't be a man. Wisdom brings protection in the until. And so we got to be so careful because when the kids go out there and then they're hearing all of these foolishness and they're hearing about, oh no, I was assigned, the new terminology they use, society use, I was assigned as a boy, but I'm actually a girl. So when your kids go out there, wisdom protects them to know that, no, you weren't assigned. You were created and born and formed a boy, so you're staying a boy. Right? So we have to be careful. So wisdom brings protection. Let's move in. We can't eat till 6 o'clock, so I could be here till 6 o'clock. Psych. So wisdom. So in the until, it brings wisdom. I think, right? Experience in life should help us to be wiser. That's what I think. It should help us to be wiser. Everything that you have experienced should have taught you something. Everything that you have experienced should have taught you something. You know what I learned from Sonic? You know what I learned from Sonic? Don't eat their burgers because it will give me diarrhea. That's my wisdom. That's what I learned from Sonic. Because again, everything in life, every experience in life should give you wisdom. You know what I've learned from banking. Always make sure you have a $12 in there by the end of the month, because they take that fee out, the banking fee, right? You ever not had that $12 and you went minus 12? So what? Everything, when I say everything, I mean everything in life, in experience, should grant us wisdom. I think wisdom is one of the most important things when you're in the until, because it helps us to have a magnifying glass for the next road that we will take. It helps us to have a why? Because again, it's like I remember when I asked Billy to lend me that $100 until I get paid. And the next day, everyone called me and said, "You borrow $100 from Billy?" So now wisdom, right, in the until, reminds me that next time, if I need $100 until I get paid, don't go to Billy. Because wisdom told me that even though I told him until I get paid, I give it back to him, he's going to tell everybody. So wisdom give life experience, right? Okay, so we're going now. My battery's about to die, so that's a sign. So this is what Solomon said as we ended up here in Proverbs 4 and 7. Solomon says it's the Amplified Bible. Proverbs 4 and 7, Amplified Bible. He says, the beginning of wisdom is get skillful and godly wisdom. It is permanent. And with all your acquiring, get understanding. Actively seek spiritual discernment, mature comprehension, and logical interpretation. So in all of your getting, in all of your sitting in the until God moves, until you get to that place, until you accomplish what you need to accomplish, until you go where you need to go. This is what wisdom is saying to you. Wisdom is saying, get everything. And then when you get it from those who are wiser. Get it from those who have experience. Again, this is why we call out to the mothers. We call out to the grandmothers, to the great grandmothers, to the spiritual leaders, for them to share their wisdom. So while we're sitting in the until, we get that wisdom, that spiritual advice, that wise advice. Not when your friends say, "Oh, he cheating on me," but girl, you cheat back on him. That ain't wisdom. Come on, that's not wisdom. Wisdom is saying, "Girl, he cheating on me." Spiritual advice, wisdom is say, I've been there. You know what you need to do? You either need to go to counseling and see if you can work it out, or ask him if you want to work this out, or let's part ways. That's what wisdom will say to you. But when you see counsel of people that are not wise, girl, go back and cheat on him. He cheat on you. You just do for, as we say in Ghana, do for do na obia. He did it to you, you do it to him. No, that's not wisdom. That's not wisdom. So in the until, wisdom. So remember this as I close, right? In the until, it allows you to know your limits, and it should make you wiser. It allows you to know your limits, and it should make you wiser. Amen. So I hope you learned something, and I hope you go ahead and don't forget. I hope you go ahead and you go, for those of you that are on Facebook, don't forget to love it. I need you to go ahead and share it on your wall. You know, and if you want to comment in the bottom of the video and tag somebody in it, I don't like tags, but you know, maybe somebody you know that's sitting in the until need to get these principles while they're there. And for those of you on YouTube, don't forget to go ahead and give me a like, right? Subscribe and notification. We got new things coming up. We got great things coming up for you. So let me pray for you before you go. Lord, I thank you for your people. I thank you, Lord God, that you are keeping them. I thank you even in the until, Lord, that they will just gain knowledge. They will know their limits, Lord. That they will get wiser as they're sitting in that until and waiting. And that they will learn from their experience. Lord, continue to be with your people. Touch your people. Let them continue to have a great week. And for those that are going through this 72 hours fasting, give them strength, Lord, as they go through. And know that until the end of this fast, you will grant them what they are seeking you for. Continue to bless your people and keep them. In Jesus' name, Amen. I thank you all. I love you all. Remember, you may be in the until, but get wisdom through it all. And I see you guys back here again next week. But hey, don't forget, we got a new blog. It was gonna go up last week. It's there, but it's gonna come. It's gonna go up this week. Probably tomorrow. Probably tonight. Go ahead and www.hellomarcelsamson.com and read it. It will bless your spirit and bless your soul. Thank you all so much for being a part of Best of Hope family. I appreciate you, and see you all next week. God bless you.